Okay. 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 Mm-hmm. Okay. Guys, I'd like to share a story with you. It's very vulnerable, but I think that it will help me to grow. And it will tell me where I'm at right now in this current set. And remember, tears don't make you weak. Tears actually make you strong. And just because you're over something doesn't mean you're not still gonna cry. Because you may not have deserved the hand that you were dealt. And honestly, none of us do, whether it's good or bad, but you gotta play the game, right? So now I'm going to share a story in regards to my relationship with my father. Why is this important? Because more people suffer from this than they would like to admit. And it's almost as if no one talks about it. It's just a stereotype that we all acknowledge to be true. But we never realize how much that destroys our relationships with friends, spouses, family, especially the other side of the family, right? So hopefully this won't be as bad as I think, but we'll find out on this episode of To the Last Drop. Hi, it's your girl Dominé with To the Last Drop podcast. And before I start the episode, I'd like to say that, number one, right? We are called to things, to speak about things that are sometimes very uncomfortable. And so I want to let you know that this may be uncomfortable for you to listen to. So if you're on your way to work or something, don't mess up your day. Save this for another time. Also, I would advise that you get tissues because me and Eugene are really about to tear it up right now. I was called to this particular topic from my higher power. And I know that it has to be spoken about because I don't want to do it. So now I will say that I am exhibiting my faith by showing you that even though I don't want to do this, that if I can do this, you can do that thing you need to do, okay? And we're going to go through it. And by the end, it'll probably be painless. Who's to say? I mean, he's taken me through the steps to know how to cope with it. So this was back when life was simpler. This is the early 90s. This is definitely not the 2000s yet. I was probably about 5, anywhere from 5 to 7 years old. So it's my sister and I. So if I was 6, she was 4. And our mother told us that our dad was going to come get us, that he was going to pick us up for the weekend. Now, we knew he didn't live with us or anything. That wasn't a secret. But he was supposed to pick us up from time to time. So I grew up in Somerville, New Jersey. Initially, it was just myself, my sister Shania, and my mom. My dad was never really around. I knew that he was in jail. They were honest with us about it, that he was in jail. And we never really knew why, though. They would always tell us that he was just out getting money. That's what they told us. And I remember one year, I had to be in like the 2nd grade. It was Father's Day, and they gave us all ties to decorate. And inside we had to write something. So I wrote what I had to write inside, and then I get to the outside. The teacher told us to draw something on the outside that we knew our dad enjoyed. And I watched the other kids draw what they drew. But again, like I've always just been worried about me. And I remember sitting there running my brain because I couldn't figure out what it was that he enjoyed. I remember thinking like, man, I don't even know his favorite color. What color can I make this? And then in pure Dominé fashion, I used my resourcefulness and I said, well, I know he likes money. And I remember making a green tie and putting a bunch of dollar signs on this tie. So at the time, I'm probably in the 2nd or 3rd grade. And I never held it against him that I didn't know anything about him. It wasn't like that. I was always really understanding of where he was and that he couldn't get out. But what sticks with me is that I remember sitting that tie on the piano. And I remember it being there for a very, very, very long time. I don't think I ever got to give it to him. I don't know where it went. Maybe it was hurting her to see it, so she moved it. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe she put it in a drawer somewhere so it would be safe. But I don't ever remember getting to give it to him. And I remember the 3rd grade being over, 2nd or 3rd grade being over. I remember time passing, but I don't think I ever got to give it to him. And it stuck with me for a very long time. So as you can see, this story is still very heavy. And I've done the work. Apparently not enough. I also remember being younger and being told that we were going to visit him, that we were going to stay the weekend with him. And I remember packing it was like a pink leather Minnie Mouse bag. And I remember packing it with like outfits that I knew he was going to like and made sure that I had everything. And I remember my sister and my mom would always take us to Taco Bell first. So we would go to Taco Bell and then she would drop us off at our aunt's house where he was supposed to come get us from a lot of the times. And it wasn't until I started really digging deep inside of myself and having difficult conversations with my mom that it came to light what I had been repressing. And when the light was shed on it and the dust had cleared, it hurt really bad. There were times when we would get ready, and I remember sitting on that porch with that pink Minnie Mouse bag. My honey bought it for me. I had the flyest Minnie Mouse bag. And we would sit on the porch and wait for him to come. And he never came. I remember one time in particular, he did come. He did. And he stayed. I don't know how long it was for, but I just remember him being there for a little while. And then we're sitting outside and he says, all right, I got to go get this dough. This is what he said. And I said, why, Daddy? Are we making cookies? I'm thinking he's staying. We're going to do things. Why, Daddy? Are we making cookies? And he laughed and he said, no, I got to go make this money, baby. That's what he said. And he left. He kissed me and he left. And that made me feel silly for not knowing what he was talking about. It made me wonder what I could have done to be more fun so that he wouldn't have wanted to leave and go make money. I also wondered why money was so important that you couldn't just be here with us in this moment. As an adult, how does this manifest itself? Well, in particular, I like money. I like money a lot. I was told that there was things that I couldn't do because my dad didn't pay child support. There was things I couldn't do as far as like cheerleading or certain dance classes and such because we couldn't afford it. So these days I really like money and I go really hard for it. I try to keep my humanity about myself. However, I'm trying to get some money. If we're not talking about money, what are we talking about? And in my family dynamic, oftentimes my siblings and my mom will judge me. Dominé, well, it's all about money to you. It's all about money. Yeah, because we didn't have it. So there was things we couldn't do. And after digging and getting to that point in the story and remembering that, it was like, okay, well, maybe you want money so bad because you think it'll make you important. You think it'll make you important enough for them to stay, for them to play, for them to spend the time that they were supposed to spend, for them to come at all, right? If you get enough money, you can look like something. You can take them on expensive excursions and do things. It will make you more pleasant to be around. These are beliefs that have been ingrained in me from a simple situation of him going to get some dough. So what I've come to realize is, and it came from a Bob Marley quote, actually, the money being a number and numbers are infinite, right? So there is no amount of money that is going to heal or bring that happiness or that peace that we're seeking, that he was seeking, whatever it was. There's no amount of money because numbers are infinite. It never stops. Even when you get some, it's never enough. And you do more to maintain it. And you give yourself more anxiety of spending it, losing it. So I just wanted to share these stories with you guys to let you know that you're not alone and that you are enough. You don't have to do anything else or be anybody else. You are enough as you are. Okay, so let me read some stats to you guys to show you, right? AmericaFirstPolicy.com has an article that states fatherless families are 4 times more likely to live in poverty than that of married couple families. Fatherless children are more likely to abuse drugs and show signs of delinquent behavior. Children from single-parent families are twice as likely to suffer from mental health problems as those living with married parents. Data suggests that 84% of homeless families are headed by women, and 90% of homeless and runaway children come from fatherless homes. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. 85% of children who exhibit behavioral disorders are from fatherless homes. 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions come from single-parent homes. Most adolescents who enter the justice system have suffered from parental abandonment. In a study of 79 juvenile delinquents, 66% experienced fatherlessness, 20% had never lived with their father, and 25% had an alcoholic father. In a study of 56 school shootings, only 10% of the shooters were raised in a stable home with both biological parents. 82% grew up in either an unstable family environment or grew up without both biological parents together. Children who feel closest to their father are 80% less likely to spend time in jail. When children have an actively involved father, they are 33% less likely to drop out of school and 43% more likely to get A's. And that's fear right there, the fear of your father, right? Children in single-parent homes are more likely to have low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, and more suicidal thoughts and attempts. All of these stats that I've read are symptoms of a term that we use a little too loosely around here. The term is daddy issues. Daddy issues are defined as adult challenges that can result from one of 2 likely past experiences, either growing up with an absent father or having an abnormal or poor relationship with a father who was physically present. The resulting psychological challenges can manifest in several ways, which I've just read to you. Rooted in a fear of being abandoned, those with daddy issues sometimes have an insatiable need to receive love. This might take the form of requiring constant affection, constant attention, or constant approval. It's a search for love and approval we never receive. There's a quote that I always saw on social media that says, to a daughter, her father is the first love of her life, and for a father, his daughter is her little bundle of joy, for whom he can do anything and everything. Girls who feel closeness to their father are 75% less likely to have a teen birth. One study showed girls whose fathers left the home before they were 5 were 8 times more likely to come home as pregnant adolescents. Let's go back to that quote real quick. To a daughter, her father is the first love of her life. When the first love of your life broke your heart, how do you proceed in love? Do you trust easier? Do you work harder to appease the person? Are you just closed off completely? And for a father, his daughter is his little bundle of joy, for whom he can do anything and everything. Now, I can't speak for a father, but I can speak as a daughter, right? Little bundle of joy, for whom he can do anything and everything. Well, if he's not there, he's not doing anything and everything, is he? Right? And he's not there to affirm you that you are his little bundle of joy. So now what? Now you are overcompensating for being a bundle of joy. And this is the worst part. You're not overcompensating for father figures. You're overcompensating for little boys in a sexual way, in a sexual manner. So now you're over-sexualized because daddy wasn't there. It's really that simple. And we say it and we put so much shame on it. There's no reason to be shameful. You heard the stats. A lot of people are suffering. But if we don't acknowledge it, how can we stop it? Her skirt is short like that because she's trying to show somebody she's worthy, because she never got that worthiness affirmed by her father. Okay? Try to extend a little grace when you look and you judge these people, because we hear these exact phrases and just think, oh, there's something wrong with her. Yeah, but that something's probably not even her fault. I didn't do anything to not make my dad show up and pick me up. I didn't do anything for him to leave me early to go get the dough. I didn't do anything for him to end up in jail. But guess what? These are the cards I've been dealt, and I have to play them. I still have to play with them. Unfortunately, there is a serious time in my life where playing with them did look like the skirt might have been a little too short. Did look like I was overcompensating because I didn't want you to leave. I didn't want you to think less of me. I have to be the best you ever had. I gotta be a show out. Yeah, it comes with the territory. Signs of daddy issues include low self-esteem, trust issues, repeatedly entering toxic relationships, people-pleasing tendencies, jealousy or overprotectiveness in relationships, idealizing men in your life, or seeking avoidable and emotionally unavailable partners. I can honestly tell you, I've done every single one of these things, and sometimes still do. A lot of them. I'm talking at least 80%. That's the truth. And I'm in therapy working. So how many are you exhibiting? Even if it's just 2, how bad are they holding you back? I'm saying all of this because I've done it too. And you don't have to keep suffering. But first you have to admit that this does hurt. I did not want to do this. This is disgusting. My day has been a little off kilter now. It's going to be that way. But if you don't address it, you're going to let it fester, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And to that, hey, let's talk about culture, right? You want to get married one day, right? Yeah. Now, there's 2 very important parts of the wedding that I fear with my whole heart. What are they? I bet you know the answer. Walking down the aisle, because who's going to give me away? And then that makes you feel like, and it's not true, but it makes you feel like, am I worthy of being given away? Like, I'm already not a virgin. That's the truth. But hey, listen, like I told you, if my drink's got to be virgin, I'm a virgin too, okay? But to that, and then I have, who's going to give me away? I have no one to give me away, right? And then the daddy-daughter dance part. And maybe you can relate. I say to myself, well, you can always just take it out of there. You don't have to do that. Or you can dance with your mom. I don't want to dance with my mom. It's not called the mommy-daughter dance. And that's nothing against my mom. That's not what it's called. That's not how that's supposed to go, right? Eugene, give it up. And then I can just take it out. But guess what? If I take it out, then I'm going to have to make him take out his mommy-son dance. And that's not cool, because I'm going to have a bunch of sons. And if their wives don't let me dance with them, I'm never going to like their wives. So that's not fair. And even if I let him keep it, that's not fair. Just one dance. There's supposed to be 2. It's supposed to be a family affair. And I often think of how, even if I dance with my stepdad, and I totally can, and honestly, that's the plan, right? If I don't address this and try to work through it by doing uncomfortable things like this, I'm still going to cry the whole way through. The whole way through. And there's going to be so many thoughts of, well, oh man, I wish my dad was here. And my dad is alive, okay? He's invited to the wedding, but does he deserve to dance with me? These are questions that you have to ask yourself. Does he deserve to give me away? These are questions that you have to ask yourself. How could you give me away? You never had me. So as you can see, these are still things that I work on. I'll probably be working on them till the day that I die. But if I don't work on them and I leave them as they are, what does that mean? What does that mean for my relationships? What does that mean for my wedding? What does that mean for my children? Sometimes daddy issues manifest themselves in you do the right thing and get someone who wants to be a dad, and you have a child with them, and you have immense jealousy against the child for their relationship with their father. Or you use your brain that has now been twisted and you think certain things are sexualized and they shouldn't be. A daughter sitting on her father's lap should not have any sexual connotation at all. Even when she's 30 years old, if she wants to sit on her father's lap, you let her do that. And you don't say nothing about it, okay? Mind your business. Tend to your issues. Get a tissue. Get a Eugene. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a beautiful thing to have that relationship to where you just feel safe sitting on this man's lap. But unfortunately, when you come from a single parent household, you're taught that the only way that you can ever experience that is in a sexual way. I will never know what it's like to sit on my dad's lap and kiss his face. The closest I will ever get to it is, by God's grace, getting a husband and doing it to him. And one day, hopefully, sharing a cheek with my daughter too. That's it. But if I don't address it now, if I don't do the work now, I'll see my daughter sitting on my father's lap, and I could feel feelings of, get her down from there. Don't do that. Don't sit like that. Or, oh my God, I can't believe she gets to do that. I never got to experience that. What kind of life is that? And one thing, I refuse to compete with anybody, because you don't compete where you don't compare, okay? But especially not my child, when I would do anything in my power to make sure that they have a dad so that they can have those experiences. And again, we joke about daddy issues, but honestly, sometimes you gotta laugh at your pain. They try to tell me that that's how I hide my vulnerability, but with all these tears, I've been vulnerable enough. So I found some funny memes that I thought worked. Ryan Reynolds said, "I have daddy issues, so I keep tissues on me at all times." Me too, my brother. Me and Eugene are travel buddies. There's another one that says, if you put your ear up close to the butterfly tattoo, you can hear the daddy issues. And I totally have a butterfly tattoo. I know I'm not the only one. Oh, did I just reveal a lot about myself? Okay, last one. This meme says, "Dad, our relationship means the world to my therapist." And it does, because I'm paying a lot of money to talk about exactly this. So those brought me joy. Now we're going to move on into the song. This song is called Daddy Issues. It's by Demi Lovato. Now, as you guys may or may not know, Demi's father died of addiction when she was very young. And that definitely haunted her and aided in her own addiction. Yeah. And so this is the song. And the lines that stand out to me that I'd like to read are, "I call you too much. You never pick up, except when you want to fuck, and I can't get enough. You're the man of my dreams, 'cause you know how to leave. But I really believe that you'd change it for me. You're unavailable." And she says it more than once. You're unavailable. "I'm insatiable." There's that word, insatiable, again. Other words for insatiable are ravenous, greedy, unquenchable. Why did she use that word? That's not the first time we heard it. Insatiable, it cannot be satisfied. No matter how many men you sleep with, no matter how much you drink or do drugs, no matter how much you run from it, you will never fill that hole that your father left. It is insatiable. You'll never fill it. There's nothing you can do. Well, hopefully I got a few tricks. You could kind of put a little something in there, but to fill it, sorry, it's never going to be filled. The chorus says, lucky for you, I got all these daddy issues. What can I do? I'm going crazy when I'm with you. Forget all the therapy that I've been through. Lucky for you, I've got all these daddy issues. Seeking out emotionally unavailable partners is a big sign of daddy issues. What is an emotionally unavailable partner? It's defined as a partner who struggles with feeling the extent of their own emotions without shutting down. So it's someone who kind of only gives you the bare minimum. Every time you really try to go deep with them, they shut down, turn it off. Yeah, have you dealt with emotionally unavailable people? Because I have. And to be honest with you, the fun for me, a lot of times, is the chase. That thought of, oh, what did she say? And I really believe that you change it for me. That thought of, I'm going to get him and he's not going to act like this no more. I'm going to put it down and he's going to love me. Oh my goodness, I'm different. He's going to change. All of that are signs and symptoms of your daddy issues kicking up. That little girl thinking, and daddy issues are for guys too, but that person inside of you saying, oh, I'm not enough. I got to do more. I got to be more. I'm not enough as I am. I'm not worthy of this. Second verse says, don't know how to commit, but I might want your kid. And after our first kiss, got your name on my wrist. Yeah, I get a little obsessive, a little aggressive, a little bit too invested. And whatever you want, whenever you want it, that's what you get, 'cause you're unavailable. And that's how it goes. You meet the person and you have such high expectation immediately. And then you do the most to keep them. So whatever you want, whenever you want it, that's what you get. Like, I'm going balls to the wall for you, buddy, because this is just going to work out, because you have to be different and this is going to be great. And in reality, a lot of times we learn that that's really not true. And typically we learn that it's not true after we've given it everything. So physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, given it everything. And then we realize, oh, well, that wasn't it. And it's like you can't get to the reason why. You never get to the point where you ask yourself, well, what is it about what I'm looking for? It's not about you. It's looking for something outside of you to fill it. And that's not how you do it. At the end of the day, you're going to have to get help. You're going to have to ask for help. Even if you don't go to a therapist and you just get community to sit around and talk about it. Sometimes you just have to throw your feelings at a wall until they lessen. Sometimes that's all you can do. And then once you're done with that part, telling the story as many times as you can. My mom always told us to tell the story until it doesn't hurt anymore. And it hurts a lot to do that. It's going to hurt one way or another. And then after that, I want you to look at the parent that was absent in your life and look at them from the lens of them being, number one, just a regular person too. A lot of times we look at our parents as superheroes until they prove to us otherwise. And that typically takes a very, very, very long time. So look at them as a human and then give the grace that you one day hope to receive and understand that. And I can use mine as an example. I understand that his dad wasn't around either. I get it. How could he know how to be a dad to a girl